It's something to keep in mind, but at the same time, these players are incredibly strong. We'll see what they're able to do. Anybody could win this. I have a wager about eating a shoe, but game number 1 is underway, so we'll see if somebody can make me eat my words, shoe or otherwise. And of course, Katie, we're gonna start with the namesake of the event, Mr. Destroy on your screen. A very, very strong team. It is good to see DBZ back at it again in a customs, and we'll see what they're able to do.
I agree. Seeing DBZ back alongside the likes of TBE and some of those other tried and true trios with their fourths for this quad, it feels good. We haven't seen a lot of that since Verdansk, but you can see it. Z, Clutch, and Co. Xenon above them. A few teams maybe going in their general direction. The comm's going to be crispy. This is one of those teams where I think if we ever do listen-ins, Goj, it is always going to be chatter. Some teams, they can be a little more quiet, but in something like customs especially, I think that those communications, those comms that I've mentioned, exceptionally important.
Yeah, exactly. I heard some of those comms while we were talking about them, and the whole time, all they're doing is calling out, are there teams here? Are there teams there? Is our rotation here going to be clear? Will we be contested? Etc. And again, they're continuing to talk about, hey, keep your eyes up. But this is normal Warzone. This is hey, we've got to get good loot early. We got to get our loadout as fast as possible, UAVs, etc. as fast as possible, because information is power, Katie.
No flash, no stuns, that's it.
You hear it? No flashes. Nothing from them. This is what they're going through on what they can't use, which is going to be very important for a custom tournament like this. We've seen in the past, maybe someone doesn't read the rules, forgets, and then you get in a world of trouble when you use something you shouldn't have. You end up getting those points nullified, and it can really throw into the loop your ability to place well or place in the money at all in a tournament like this. So good heads up from them to just make sure they're doing everything they need to. But so far, as we take a look around the map, not a lot of action just yet. Taking the time to loot, get themselves fully prepared, because this is not Verdansk, right? It's going to be way more punishing if you go into gunfights underprepared in Al Mazrah, especially when it's going to be something like a custom where you're not betting on an easy lobby because it's early in the morning. You know that every single person that you are playing against is going to be able to shoot back.
Exactly. All of these teams incredibly strong. We've got EU World Series of Warzone winners. We've got NA World Series of Warzone winners. We've got some Australian players today, some Mexico players today, and I'm sure plenty of other regions represented. So excited to see a wide variety of types of players, but all very, very strong players. And it's custom, so that means loadouts are going to be key in order to win some of those gunfights against the highest level of competition. And one of the easiest ways to do that, Katie, is get your loadout here at a stronghold, and that's exactly what DBZ +1 are trying to do.
Yeah, no, read right away. Yeah, that's a great idea. That's a great idea. Get the advanced UAV for the end game. Yeah. Somebody pick up these U's.
Looks like they are continuing to loot up. They've got the black site key in case they want to go for that. And get the advanced UAV. They're going to grab several UAVs now.
No helis, no helis, no helis, no helis. Oh, shit.
Yeah, what I liked most about that, Goj, was the mention of that advanced UAV for the end game. Because you don't often hear teams talking at this point in a game about what they plan to do all the way in the future, maybe 15, 20 minutes down the road. We'll swing over to Tommy's team. A little bit sleepy for them. No eliminations yet, but it looks like they're trying to change that. At least one in the water. Almond calling out. But you got to be careful taking some heavy shots, so it might not be as easy of a fight as they would expect.
I'm running.
Whew, yeah, using those smokes is going to be massive in order to relocate when there's not a lot of cover to work with.
Let's back up.
Calling for the backup. I like it. Readjust the fight when you have the advantage. Right now at a disadvantage. And this is TBE plus Limax. Limax is the quad today.
Wait, you got Piet?
Limax is getting pinged by an airstrike, but should be clear enough to grab the revive. I like Tom's call here, Katie. He's saying, hey, let me take the high ground just in case they decide to push. Teams deciding not to push, but instead use that down to relocate and rotate. But Tom's picked him out from the distance.
It's done. Stronghold's completed. That one's completed. Someone's completed it.
Okay. They probably looted both then.
It's going to be those strongholds they're talking about as well. You know, if you miss that opportunity early on, like what we saw happening with DBZ's team, it's going to make it a little more tricky. You have to decide, did you want to land and maybe go for eliminations first and not go for that stronghold? That might set you back in terms of those loadouts and that gunpowder if you come up against a team like DBZ's that already has that set up, has their perks, has everything ready. Tommy forced to scramble backwards, gets the comms out. A nice counter UAV. Good looks from Almond. Just trying to get eyes on where those players are. Has marks, but I mean, in the hands of these players, these guns will be effective enough, but just not as ideal of a situation as it could be.
Yeah, they've got cover. It's just a matter of can they team shot and maybe grab a knock. These are crucial moments early game, right? Not only are they potentially 4 points you could grab, but also you could set up your next rotation. Unfortunately, Limax goes down. Cleaned up. Head to the gulag early, and now it's Picnic Basket on the other side that's finding that elimination. So this is the old Tiberius Khan squad +1, I believe.
Yeah, and that's Joewo taking down Tommy, too.
There's 2 teams fighting this, I believe. Wow.
There you go. Wow, noobs, the team wipe, and that is not how you want to start a map. But again, keep in mind, you do get that mulligan that Goj mentioned. You get that worst game dropped from your score. I just think, Goj, for the most part, you don't want to have to use that up in map 1 because that means maps 2 through 6 are going to have to be perfect.
Well, and here's the thing, too. As the game continues to kind of get underway, we're seeing some early action, which is exciting. Likely won't see an insane amount, as a lot of teams are trying to set up for the in-game and loot. You know, it's something. It's worth calling out. TB is in trouble right now. I mean, they might have to use their mulligan first map. They're all in the gulag, which in theory they could win all of those and come right back in. But regaining on Al Mazrah is incredibly difficult. Now, they didn't have all that great of loot when they did go down, so how much of a difference really is it? The only problem is, where do you land? And if you land on a squad that's already looted up, you might be done and dusted. First or second team being eliminated at this point.
Yeah, and the regain just gets that much more difficult, compounded by the fact that it's customs. You have players who aren't going to make those same mistakes and are going to capitalize on your vulnerability the way that maybe a regular redrop back into Al Mazrah might be. Redman, no surprise, up on top of the towers, keeping an eagle eye on where these players are. Finds one, snipers out, connects on the armor. Not able to get him as he dolphin dives around the corner, but spots another on the ground, takes the shot, doesn't connect, and sometimes it feels like, Goj, the easiest shots can be the hardest to take. You get one flying to the right and you hit that, looks for another, not able to connect, but Breadman, some really good comms for his team as they push toward whoever might be on the other side of Breadman's sniper.
Yeah, it's a good call out. I mean, this team in particular is another really strong one. This is Lofwo, FIFA Kill, or sorry, not FIFA Kill, Breadman and Joewo for Lofwo. Plus, of course, you've got a couple players they used to play with all the time. One in particular, which is Wars, back in the competition, which is exciting to see. And then I believe they've got Skullface as well, who is in a World Series of Warzone winner with our friend Hisoka. He was the trick master, as they called him. The man's next level. Very strong in custom, so this could certainly go their way if they continue to do well. They had a pretty strong start, a couple eliminations, specifically against TBE. It's a great fight to take early if you win it, and that's exactly what happened. So the question is, do you continue to keep up the pace and track down one of these teams, or slow it down a little bit? They look like they've got fantastic loot, especially when you're picking up other information gathering tools like these recon drones. Going to be incredibly crucial to success today is how many different ways can we gather information to set ourselves up to take the highest percentage gunfights we can.
What elimination, not a bad start. You know that, as we said, them encountering TBE's team, they're going to have a few spread among them. Not a bad start, but it'll be curious to know as we get through these customs what the kind of baseline early amount of kills is going to need to be as a determiner for a potential really good game. This will give us a good amount of information on that answer as we get through map 1. But let's swing over. Juki's on your screen, does have eliminations as well, and looking to push forward to meet up with Oki. FIFA up on the top of that building, but good comms coming across as I think we might have another player about to be down. Juki's pushing forward to figure out exactly where he just went. Spots him on the stairs, and that's Gary, Unrational, taken down.
Now, all of these teams are good, but these are some of the most high-caliber, winningest players in Warzone history that are finding each other early. So this could be a potential banger of a map for one of the teams that comes out on top. Smoke's a little bit in the way, but it doesn't matter. Huskerrs in trouble and can't get the better of any of his opponents. So Linen will find another. Likely, Huskerrs and Unrational's teammates will be getting out of Dodge as fast as possible. Run away, regain, don't go down. If we don't all burn our gulags early, that's a huge success for us, given the situation.
All of them just taking some time now to figure out their next moves, dropping some cash for whoever may need it. But you've kind of taken control of this POI. You cleared out Huskerrs' team, so now you can just strategize. What do you want to do next? Do you want to pop something like a UAV? Do you want to figure out what exactly is going on around the map? Where do you want to rotate to next? And, well, Juke is content to just throw money at everyone, apparently.
Yeah, I mean, cash is always king. You know, I've talked to a ton of different streamers, a ton of different content creators, and one of the things that's consistent across every single person's streams and every single person's kind of thought process when it comes to the game is that resources are everything, specifically cash. If you have cash, you can do a lot. And when you spread out the cash among your team like they are right now, they're future-proofing. In case one of them goes down, they can buy them back no matter who's up. They will be able to get a buyback if they're near a buy, which they currently are. So they're kind of holding down this edge of observatory, trying to spot out some info. The comms are flying back and forth about information they're seeing, players they're seeing, anything they can spot out. So with some information down below, they're electing to maybe push out. Yo, Juki's thought about it, and then they might have called back the dog and said, whoa, hold your horses. Let's pull back on the leash a little bit. We're okay. Let's slow it down and make sure we've got good positioning, as we do have a split zone.
23 teams remaining, which means 2 full quads have been eliminated. Keep in mind, very important, 20th and onward is where you start getting points for placement. That's why we talked about how important it is to not be, you know, one of those first essentially 4 teams that are taken out. You don't want to be 21st through 25th. Take a look at Smixy. Did well in the Baka Brawl recently. Played exceptionally well, especially with the deagle that seemed to throw a lot of people for a loop, but the comms come out. Wiz right nearby. They've got that UAV to help take a peek where exactly these players are. Smixy playing it patient as they wait for this streak overhead. A counter as well. Spots one through the car, gets the tags.
Nice.
A nice down onto Z-Dark. Nice comms from Smixy and good positioning from her teammates.
Exactly. Anytime you can just pick up free eliminations like that, uncontested as it were, that's a good day in the office when it comes to customs. That's something you need to be able to capitalize on, is even if it's just 1 or 2, pick them up where they come. These tournaments oftentimes come down to 1 or 2 points, and without kill multipliers in place as well, you're not going to see fractions of points. There's no, you know, 0.2579 points that's going to be available, so it quite literally probably will come down to 1 or 2 points. But whether that's, you know, 5th versus 6th or 1st versus 2nd, only time will tell. But that kill probably vastly influential. And specifically too, Katie, every time we watch these custom tournaments, the consistent theme in the end circle is who has the most players left on their team, especially when it comes down to quads with 4 players per squad. Player advantage is nearly everything in those final moments. Of course, the only thing that can surmount that is positioning, if it's God positioning, but even still, sometimes just having more people alive will win you games.
Yeah, exactly. Bodies are paramount at the end, because you said it right. Even if it's a 2v4 and you as the duo have better positioning, it doesn't really matter if the other team can just throw so many bodies at you that you don't have time to recover before they overwhelm you. So it's very rare as we see Fief go down in that Gulag defeat. I'm not quite sure who he died to, so we swing back over to Huskerrs. But I think, oh, it looks like maybe no substitute. I don't know if they were joking around. I mean, it's Scummin, so that would be on brand on Twitter, Coach. But we do have our answer to that question at the start of the event. Is Scummin going to be here? And yes, he is. But yeah, we'll have to see exactly that utility. Who has the most amount of players going into the end game is almost always going to convert itself into a win.
Yeah, this is a very interesting situation where this team can actually pick which side of the zone you would like to be in, and Oki goes for potentially a buy, and unfortunately, I think it's This is a bit precarious. Yeah, gonna go down in the zone, and this is just a mistake. I mean, this is just the nature of somebody making calls that that maybe pulled Oki away from what he originally intended to do, or vice versa, right? And now they are lucky enough that the zone isn't moving too quickly. They're positioned kind of between zones, and I was going to call out, hey, you could pick which side you want to be on, and they've elected to go this direction, which I don't mind at all. That was almost, honestly, detrimental to this team's success. Now, could still be a problem as teams trying to catch them on the rotation.
Yeah, and Oki, nice job readjusting to get back into the car. Did take a few shots. But yeah, one of those kind of funny little mistakes you might see a team make. And lucky for them that there wasn't another team around to punish that error. Shoots at one on the roof, able to get a nice break, but can't convert that into anything else. Gonna have to back off as that streak comes in. Not necessarily a building I'd feel completely safe standing in, considering all the open garage doors, and we know that those streaks can do some funky things. But Oki, fearless, able to scramble away, insistent on getting shots into this car or simply rotating away from a fight that they aren't 100% on.
Yeah, and what you're seeing here, too, is that both teams are electing to take the same type of strategy. Have one player in a vehicle, because what that allows for is several things. One, cover. You use it for cover where there isn't any. Two, it provides a bit of a distraction. Whether there's one player in it, two players in it, or otherwise, you can use that vehicle to distract, and maybe a player could address from a different angle while maybe your player on high ground was looking over at the vehicle. Three, it allows you to hop in that vehicle, and then you can surprise the enemy on when you hop out. You get to dictate, and you start the fight with that exit. So that's something you'll see a lot, especially as we get to like late mid-game, early in-game. You're going to see people rotating around in vehicles and trying to jump squads in order to grab an edge. So we'll see. With a split squad on the first map, this is really exciting. So I don't know if we've seen a split zone in customs in maybe besides maybe the first customs that ever happened on Al Mazrah. We might have saw one map of that, and we're already seeing it in the first map. So it provides a whole different, unique experience. That is customs. We're back with DBZ here, Katie, and they are taking a water rotation. Talk about another unique thing to Al Mazrah, specifically with Warzone 2. This is not something you could do when it was Caldera or even Verdansk. Couldn't rotate through the water. Whole new, unique way of trying to flank your opponents and getting to a power position.
It does make me awful nervous, though. I mean, I think they don't have to worry necessarily about taking too many shots right now, but we have seen the capacity of players of this caliber to track and find players who are in the water. See those AIs taking shots might potentially reveal their location to anyone nearby, but they are able to make that water rotation successfully. Maybe a nice job at doing so, as they're in a much better position for where the storm's going to pull them to next. Destroy still on the hunt, has 3 eliminations, I believe. Not a bad spot to be in, depending on the rest of eliminations the players have. And I think that's something to note, Goj, is that elimination totals in something like Al Mazrah for individual players in a custom, probably not going to be quite the same as what we saw in Verdansk or Caldera.
Oh, sure. No, absolutely. Definitely a slower paced gameplay, and total amount of eliminations you can walk home with are going to be a little bit lower. But this first game will be the litmus test. You called it out earlier. Whoever finds the most amount of points, this will kind of be the base metric that everyone else will trying to either beat or meet in order to work their way up the leaderboard. So we'll keep an eye on that totals as they come through. As a reminder, it's placement points, not multipliers. So our placements are not quite coming into play yet. It's the top 20 squads that will walk away with some placement points, but that's just one for 16th through 20th, and then it ticks up from there. First place is 10, so you know, sizable number of points. That's 10 kills overall if you total it that way, but it's not a ton, so you can't rely on it for your success today. It can only really be a boon.
Yeah, no surprise that we're at this point in the game and still only 3 teams fully eliminated. You're going to have the chaos of the early game, but a large portion of that middle game has destroyed. Nice usage of that UAV as they look to push forward into the zone. And, well, good usage indeed. You know that at least 3 players are in front of you, and you've got a lot of open area. So you got to make sure that you can kind of close this gap safely before you engage with this team. But it's going to be this middle portion of the map where just a lot doesn't necessarily happen. You're rotating, you're looting, you're preparing yourself for the end game. And I think sooner rather than later, we're going to start to see a lot of these teams dropping off the board.
Yeah, and it was FIFA Kill Squad that was up on the top side of the observatory circle, having to rotate in. You can see Destroy Squad rotating in from the bottom right circle. 3 different zones. There's a number of different teams with different rotations. Now, they've called out a few here on the edge of this circle. I think broadcast can hear the comms as well. If you want to hear direct comms for the teams, what they're talking about, feel free to go support our creators and head over to their broadcast. Of course, Destroy over there on Twitch and all types of different stream locations and you know, hundreds, literally 100 different streams you can tune into here on the main broadcast. We'll do a couple listen-ins here and there, but mostly be talking through about strategies and rotations, since we have a little bit of a broad perspective of where the players are able to come through. But yeah, this is what I was going to mention about TBE's team. They might be in a tough position on this next rotation here, Katie. With this circle closing, they're fine. They've got a massive building to work with. But look at what's next, where they're going to have to go from here. No, it doesn't matter. Mutex is on top of this building waiting for Tommy and finds his prey with 1 elimination. Going to feel great about that. Noobs was able to grab, I believe, either the trade or at the very least the loot. But that was super unfortunate for Tommy.
Well, Almond falls as well. Almond not able to stay alive. And what went from a disaster and an excellent recovery off screen, well, it goes right back into disaster all over again. That's going to be a quick redeploy, and I think everyone back into the game. But that was tough for them because, again, having your momentum stunted like that at this point in the game is going to be so difficult to come back from, especially when you're not going to have those loadout guns. You're not going to have the money. You're not going to have the utility you need, as DBZ's team knows maybe a potential pinch situation that they're in. Taking a look at that building behind them, knows someone's in the front as streaks fly through overhead, and well, everyone keeping an eye maybe on that loadout as well.
Yeah, definitely a player on top of the roof. As a reminder, the jailbreak did proc, but if your team is fully wiped already, then you have to splat when the jailbreak comes through. You don't get to come back in. But for a team like TBE, they got cleaned up by Mutex, except there was still 1 alive. So they all come back for free and they can all play. So a lot of players back, but not any different number of teams. Now, Katie, this is about what we expected. 25 teams, 19 still alive with the 5th circle closing. This is about to be chaos, and placement points are going to come flying through in the final seconds of this map.
We are into those placement points. Speaking of, we're at 18 teams remaining, and this is a risky moment to do it. Zlaner, nice job with the break, but getting shot from someone out the time. The comms are flying as they look to survive. This team pushing into them. Great job with those shots. The Semtex is coming as well, trying to perhaps blow that car up, do some of the work for them. And so far, they've managed to survive the assault. Swinging outside, potentially. Nice usage of the smokes as well. Pick up the gun and that utility. And this is where you rotate away to a safer position. Destroy. Nice follow-up. Gets one down. That's Lennon taken out. Looking for more. Still hovering around the car outside. DBZ doing an excellent job of isolating this team and picking them apart, doing their best to survive the chaos.
Oh, what's crazy is that this is Lennon, which means this is FIFA Kill Squad that was up an observatory. They wrapped all the way down to the bottom right-hand side, and they found DBZ. DBZ has answered and not lost a single person. They said, hey, look, this is our POI. We've been hanging out here for a while, and we're going to take care of it. Elimination after elimination coming through. Destroy Squad looking fantastic thus far. They've got gas masks for rotations. And they're yelling even more comms about where the players are coming from. Clutchbuck finding Smixy. Several teams in this area. And of course, there are 14 squads still alive. Placement points slowly ticking up as players tick down, Katie. It's going to be a resource game here in the final couple circles. And it's also going to be chaos. So everyone watching at home, take a big collective breath, because you're basically not going to be able to breathe for the next some odd 2-3 minutes that's left in this lobby.
And just by a sliver, they're inside the circle, not taking damage. Actually, a really nice position to be in, because who's going to believe someone has room under the bridge right here to even be in the circle? But the comms coming in, you see the initial push from Clutchbuck forward. rotating around with those gas masks, and you can hear it. Look at all those teams. We were at 14 teams. We are cut in half to 7 teams with 20 players remaining. Not able to find that climb up, and well, now you're just starting to take damage. It works if you can get up on the rock, but you're gonna die if you take too long. Xenon able to get to safety, but maybe not as smooth as they would have liked, as again, those smokes proving to be invaluable for this team. But Clutch will fall. Potential for him to get revived as he runs right into a nade through that door.
This is the type of in-circle we like to see. A lot of teams still up, 7 to be exact, but only 19 players. We've lost Clutch Belk, 3 still alive, now we're in trouble. Answers, 1 in the bathroom, finds it. That's an elimination. 2 left alive for this team, total of 6 now. With that team wipe coming through, look how small this circle is, and it's about to get even smaller. Durable gas mask is going to be crucial for your success as this wrap comes through. Do you go early or do you go late? Always the question mark that can only be answered after the map is over.
Not bad positioning, though, for where the circle's pulling. If there's anyone in those 2 buildings that just got taken into the storm, opportunity for you to make a play, unless you get shot across the way, beamed before an opportunity. Hopefully, we'll be able to get back up, but can you recover in time? Because the storm is going to start ticking away at you very, very quickly, as there are 8 total players, 3 teams remaining. You get one onto the ground. Nice find indeed. Able to get a very crucial elimination. The placement points substantial at this point. Can you survive? Broken armor, a knife down onto Biffle, the team we talked about at the very beginning of the event. But can you keep going? Now a 2v1. Only one other player, Zlaner and Xenon, doing what they can. The comms come out. They know he's on the other side of that wall. You push together, try and isolate. Goes for the shots, gets the down, and that'll be the win. The assassination on top of it. DBZ, it's Destroy's tournament, and it's Destroy's map 1.
Unbelievable chemistry. 16 total eliminations. Now, it's not double, there's no multipliers, but that's still a 26-point game with those placement points coming through. Fantastically executed. Fantastic IGL. You heard it from their comms, and I will reiterate it. The callouts were crisp. The chemistry is everything, and they executed flawlessly in map number 1.